everybody, welcome to our series Farm to Fork. My name is Chef Connie Powers, and today we're going someplace a little bit unusual. I am going to introduce you to a member of the farmer's team, the butcher. The butcher is the team member that works between the producer and the chef, and it's a very integral part of this team. We're going to be going to Primal Cuts and meeting George Medill. Primal Cuts is at 550 Lansdowne Street in Peterborough. We visited George and he took us through the shop. He showed us how to debone some chicken. George is the kind of butcher that you will find equally in the shop as you will on the farm. I've met George numerous times, sometimes in the shop, sometimes in the barn, sometimes right in with the rancher. So we are going to show you a little tour of Primal Cuts. George is going to show us some technique using a knife and some chicken thighs. Now, thinking about the holidays coming, you may be preparing meals for a buffet style, you may be preparing family style meals, and we're going to show you a few dishes today that are delicious, easy to make, and use boneless chicken thighs. You can often find chicken thighs with the bone in, but for a family dinner, for a buffet, you may want a little less management of the meat on the plate. So let's start off with some chicken thighs that we got from Primal Cuts. I always thought that I would look at the butcher, I would hunt down where I could find chicken thighs without the bone in it. And then I realized when George showed me, it's very simple. He's going to be demonstrating that when we do the video. I've left two without being deboned. I'm going to show you how simple that is. First, I want to remind you, if you're going to be using poultry or cutting poultry on your board, try to use a plastic board that can be then put into the dishwasher, and it'll be sanitary. Then your board underneath is clean to continue on. So here is a nice sized chicken thigh that we got from Primal Cuts, and George was showing us that there is only one bone in it, and it's the thigh bone. You take a fillet knife, and it was so simple that, George made it look very simple. You cut on either side of the thigh bone, and then with the fillet knife, just cut down to release the bone from the meat. And then you can see the bone is going to release itself so easily. Try not to cut into the thigh. You might have to this one's got a little bit of tissue here. And there you have it. I've got the bone removed. And now I'm going to roll the thigh back up. And I've got a perfectly boneless, not skinless, we want the skin. You've got a perfectly boneless chicken thigh. This is not going to go to waste. So I've started a stock pot because I've done all of the chicken thighs. This bone is going to go in. And you'll see in here I have got in my stock pot celery, onions, thyme. I'll put some salt and pepper and the chicken bones that I am removing. And then I will just let that simmer and we'll have a chicken stock. Let's do the second one. We open it. We make 2 cuts on either side of that bone. Oh, I think I got a little bit cleaner on this one. It took some practice. Okay, I'm just going to remove the bone from the base of the chicken thigh. There's still a good amount of meat on here that will make a delicious stock base. And there you have it. I have a boneless chicken thigh. So I'm going to clean up from the chicken, and we're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Farm to Fork. I'm Chef Connie Powers, and today we are cooking with some chicken thighs, some boneless chicken thighs. We're going to take you to meet George Medill of Primal Cuts. Enjoy this. Welcome to our series Farm to Fork. Today we're someplace we've never been before. We're not on a farm. We're at the next stage. We're at the butcher. This is George Medill. We are at Primal Cuts at 550 Lansdowne in Peterborough. He is going to show us a tricks on how to cut our meat, how to make the best of a cut, and also the value of a butcher. You go into a butcher shop and nobody can treat that cut as like he can. And we can have some fat trimmed, we can tailor it to our family size.
Yeah, and you want to utilize it to its fullest extent as well, right?
So your butcher shop is a nose to tail, and that means you use everything.
Yeah.
So today we are going to be talking about products that maybe the viewer doesn't know too much about,
Sure, yeah.
or isn't familiar using. Like, we were looking in your cooler and you've got tallow and you've got suet.
Yeah.
So tallow and suet are two different items that come from a cow.
Right.
But in similar ways.
Yeah, so tallow is usually or suet is from like the kidney fat. So there's big channels of fat that surround the kidneys in the animal in the cavity, and that is like that's your raw suet. And then you can go another step further. You can grind it, which we do, and we sell it out of the freezer. So you can use it for multiple things that way, which I'm sure you'll let me know.
Yeah.
And then also then it renders down. Then the next stage is to render it down and to turn it into tallow, which then creates more uses for it.
And the tallow is a really nice product to use as a cooking oil. And you were saying, cook the animal in the oil of its own. So the suet, you were saying your mom uses it for the birds. And I'm sure people hear suet and they think that's what I feed to the birds. But in this episode, I'm going to show a few ways to use the suet as a combination with some ground meat. And then we're still using the animal fat to enhance it. And also to do some Christmas puddings or to do some traditional British cooking. I don't know why, but suet works well there. But the tallow is a beautiful product to just put into your cast iron pan.
It really is.
To braise, to sear.
Yeah.
The second thing we want to do is we have noticed that we're going to farmers and the cost of processing an animal, a chicken, has become so high that they're selling whole chickens. And so you come home and you've got to put this into pieces if you want to serve it that way, not a roast chicken.
Yeah.
And you can really hack the heck out of it.
Yeah, it's easy to. It's also easy to not.
Well, if you've got the wrong knife, you've got a dull knife, or you just don't know where the joints lie, you're going to be hacking it. So today you're going to show us a really good way to process a chicken into pieces. Yeah. And then something that interests me a lot is how to debone it, because boneless chicken can then be ground into different
absolutely,
recipes.
Yeah.
So you started one earlier.
Yeah. So this is just kind of a basic breakdown. You got your bone and breast, you got your thighs, your drumsticks that we've removed from the thighs, wings, and then you've got a pile of bones and some skin and cartilage that you want to keep for stock.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing that in this episode. So we're doing a little bit of everything in this episode where we're showing how to use product that you cut up for us at the shop. So we're going to start off with a whole chicken.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I watched you do one earlier, and it was pretty fine.
Yeah. So I like to start them upside down. So I take the wings off first. What you want to do is you want to kind of pull them out, and you can the chicken kind of tells you where it needs to be cut. You can kind of see the seams, you see the fat lines through it. It's almost like a guide. So I'm going to take the wings off first. You kind of go right underneath, and you just want to use the tip of your knife.
And let the bone separate itself.
Right. So then, you've got the meat. You want your breast meat left on the breast, wing meat's for the wing, right?
And that's what I mean by you can make a mistake, because then you've got too much of the breast meat on there.
Yeah.
And I noticed you're going to show us how to.
Yeah. So then I kind of pull the legs apart, and you can see there's a hard line of fat in between the breast and the leg, and we use that as a trace, right? So that's where you separate that, right?
So let's continue with the chicken.
Okay. So I can't stress enough on how much it's just the very tip of the knife that you need for this, and that stops you from going any further into the bird. So we're gonna go flip it over here. Again, pull that leg out, trace it down here, and it's just that natural seam. Pop the joint out here, and then this is a nice little spot here. This is called the oyster, and it just sits right in the back.
And I mean, you could use this as a roasted thigh and quarter chicken.
Absolutely.
But you're going to separate it.
We're going to separate them, yeah. So we'll bust it into quarters first. I'm going to take the backbone off here, off the breast. Just stick it up here with our bones. And then I'm going to take the breastbone out, the spine. again, into our stockpile. And then when you get to the rib cage, there's a small piece of cartilage here that you just kind of want to just touch your knife into. That's it. And it just will pop out on its own. And then you run your thumb down the breastbone, and it just peels right out.
Yeah, I think what I often get is like one piece bigger than the other because I don't think I was popping that cartilage out right. Well done.
Yeah. And the little pieces of skin that you take off goes in your stockpile. Okay. Now when we separate the legs, you've got your thigh, you've got your drum. It's easier to flip it over because then you can see exactly where that joint is. It's right there, right? That's a nice even cut. Get right in.
No bone.
No bone, no. Same thing, looking for that nice little spot there.
That's really nice.
Yeah. And then your wings. Some people like to cook them like this. I clip them, so that's taking the tip off.
I prefer to do them in 2 pieces.
Yeah, me too. So you just kind of push the wing out. If you just grab it, it'll squeeze, it'll push right out, and then you're going to hit it in the 2 joints right there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And then they're easy to see.
So the tip is our stock.
That's it.
All right, and the most interesting thing to me is deboning a piece of the meat, and I think the thigh is overlooked.
The thigh, it's my favorite part of the whole bird, to be totally honest.
It's the most tender,
it's
and
most
if you
tender.
can find them
Yeah.
deboned already, but that's kind of rare because, again, that's probably more cost to the meat packer. So the chicken thighs, you can do so many things. It's juiciest, it's most tender, it's great on a grill.
It's great. It's great with the skin on it. It's great with the skin off it. It's got lots of fat.
And something that I'm starting to do is grind the thigh meat, and then when you like you're making meatballs, Swedish meatballs or something.
Yeah, we use the thigh meat for burgers, and they're fantastic.
They would be.
Yeah, it's real.
Okay, so a customer comes in here, they buy a whole chicken, and they don't want to take it home and do this. They want you to piece it, and they may say, "Can you take the bone out?"
Yeah.
Is there extra fee for that?
No, that's a service we provide for customers. You're already here shopping. If you want us to do that for you, we're custom, so
and then
we'll do that.
They could take home their stock.
They take home everything. Yeah.
They take home everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's the ideal thing about coming to a butcher. You get that personal touch to it. It's not on a piece of styrofoam covered in cling wrap.
That's right. And it'll be packaged appropriately, however the customer wants it as well, right?
Yeah, it's fresh too.
Yeah.
So can you debone that?
Absolutely.
Is it, you were telling me earlier, it's probably the easiest one?
Yeah, it's one of the easiest things to debone. There's only one bone in the thigh, right? It's your femur bone, basically. And so all you're going to do is, with that tip of the knife again, just go in, and all you want to do is just kind of just pull the meat off the bone.
Okay.
And this is something super easy you can do at home for sure.
Yeah, it does. Right? And then that bone goes into your stomach.
Yeah, and then you go down the other side, and all you're doing is following it all the way around.
You make it look easy.
Right.
You've done it before, though.
A couple times, yeah. Right.
Yeah, you do make it look easy.
Yeah, and then that goes in there again, right? So then you got a really nice, you'll have a little, this is like your kneecap, so that'll come out. But other than that, it's pretty well good to go, whether you want them skin on or skin off.
Never really considered that chickens had kneecaps, but I bet they do.
Yeah, they do, yeah.
They do.
Yeah,
do you sell chicken feet?
We do, yeah. We sell them in the freezer. A lot of people use them for stock. Yeah.
For stock, my grandma used to eat them, nibble on them.
Oh, we braised them and deep fried them and ate them like chicken wings, all that sort of thing. But yeah.
Okay, now you can go to certain pubs and they will sell boneless chicken wings.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Is that something you can do?
We can bone in chicken wings. I don't think those boneless chicken wings are actually boneless chicken wings. But yeah. So I don't have a comment on that because I'm not sure where those are coming from.
But I agree. It's not so easy to do, and that would be like a higher end piece of meat.
That'd be a tedious job, I think. So I don't think they're actually boneless chicken wings. But,
so in the shop, though, I mean, chicken is not it's not your predominant meat that you sell.
No, it's a huge percentage, but it's not. Beef and pork. Beef and pork are the biggest for sure.
And you have Cleary Cattle Ranch.
Yeah, we got Cleary Cattle Ranch as well.
And I have to tell you, I cooked some of it. It's spectacular.
It's spectacular. We're super pleased with the beef.
It's absolutely because this was dry aged. It was a strip loin, strip loin, and it was spectacular. So your hours are your Monday to Sunday.
We're Tuesday to Sunday.
Tuesday to Sunday.
Yeah.
You get Monday.
Yeah. We're closed on Mondays, but Tuesday to Sunday, 10 to 7. Sundays 10 to 5, a little bit of a shorter day.
And something I just found out is you've got a sausage maker here.
Yeah, we do all of our own stuff in-house, sausages in-house, burgers in-house, all done by hand.
And you've got a kitchen that you make.
Full kitchen. We run the shop with almost zero waste. So there's a spot for everything, right?
Well, it's a fantastic butcher shop. You have to come to 550 Primal Cuts, 550 Lansdowne in Peterborough, Primal Cuts Butcher Shop. Come and see George. He's got everything here, and he's master butcher. He's got lots of butchers working here. This is where you get the good stuff. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that. You can see that that butcher shop is beautiful. We're going to continue on. Let's start with the honey garlic. So you can use a cast iron frying pan or a cast iron Dutch oven, which I've used. I preheated it. We're going to add a little oil. This is a very simple recipe as well. Few ingredients. It's all about the chicken thigh making that flavor. So I want you to just put a little bit of oil. You can see my pan is hot because the oil is shimmering. That's what we're looking for. I'm going to turn it down just a little bit so that we don't have too much heat. And we're going to add in 7 to 8 chicken thighs. That's the sound you're looking for. We are going to cook this on one side, and then we're going to flip them. They're not going to be fully cooked until they have seared. All right, our chicken thighs are about to be turned over for the second side to be seared. When they turn over, we're going to be adding in a little bit of chopped onion, not finely chopped. We're just going to dice it. Now, we don't often talk about knives, and that is something that if you are a serious cook, you may be looking into purchasing some knives. The first knife you want to have in your kitchen is a chef's knife. If you look at this one, it is a 6-inch. It's not quite, the 10 inch is the standard one, then there's an 8-inch. I use a 6-inch chef's knife because my hand is a little bit smaller, but this is all preference to you. So I'm just making these into a dice, and then we want a lot of garlic. Remember, this is honey garlic. You want to have about, I say 7 cloves, but really what do I have here? It looks like more like about 10 cloves. We don't need to have these done really fine. I'm just going to chop them up so that they can simmer in the oil. And if it's not something you want, you can leave them a little bit chopped up and just remove them. Remove them from the dish after. So if you are looking to increase your tools in your own kitchen, you most likely should start off with a chef's blade and a paring knife. But today we're just going to talk about the chef's knife. So I've got my garlic and my onions. We're going to turn the chicken over and we're going to add that. All right, it's seared really nice, and I put the side down, the open side first. You can see it releases really nice. That's when you know your protein is ready to be turned over, when it releases. I leave the skin on the thighs. You can remove it if you'd like. I think it keeps its flavor, it keeps its crispiness. All right, the open side is up, and that's where we're going to add in our onions. So when I went to the butcher shop, George said, what do you want to learn today? What do you want me to bring to your viewers? And I said, I really think we want to see how to prepare a piece of meat for our kitchen, for our own family meals. And that's why we went to chicken. But as George reminded me, you can go into his shop and he'll cut anything to your needs. So just go in and ask him if he can take the bone out if you're not comfortable with it, but you could see it was pretty easy. So I have now got the chicken thighs in there, some onions, some garlic. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of salt. This is the time when we want to do a little bit of flavoring, a little bit of seasoning on there. So that was about a half a teaspoon. And that's about it. We're going to let that cook. Remember, we're looking for slightly pink in the center, not fully cooked, but that's not cooked enough. We'll be right back. It's time to turn them over. We're going to give them, there's nice juice starting to form in there. We're going to give them a little bit more time to cook. I can see that one side is cooked quite nicely. Let's just turn them all over, and then we're going to make the sauce that goes on top of it. It's just this very simple honey, garlic, soy sauce topping. Now, how we're going to make this sauce is not even in a bowl. We're going to just pour it right into the chicken. What you need is 1 cup of honey. Now, this is a Kawartha Lakes honey. Try to use local honey if you can. It's better for you and your family. And we're going to put in a half cup of soy sauce. I use the gluten-free soy sauce because it also suits my family. It's easier on the tummies for many people. I've got 1 cup of honey, half a cup of soy sauce, and it's going to be a pinch of garlic powder and a pinch of onion powder. There's no thickening, there's no cornstarch. It's very simple. You may have seen recipes before where they dredge the chicken through some cornstarch or some flour. No need to do that in this. So we now have, you can see, it's cooking nicely, and we're going to add in the honey garlic sauce. So I'm going to first add in the 1 cup of honey. You know, I go to Kawartha Lakes Honey. I just tell them which one I want, and I believe that this is basswood. It has a lot of deep flavor. Okay, I've got the honey in. It cooled it off. You can see that it stopped cooking a bit. Now, you may see other recipes that say remove the chicken and make the sauce into the pan. There's no need to. I'm trying to do less steps. This did not need to have the chicken removed. Okay, I've just incorporated all that honey, and then I'm going to add in the half cup of soy sauce. Make sure it mixes in with the honey. I can smell the garlic, I can smell the soy sauce. It's a nice combination. And now the pinch of onion powder. By pinch, I mean maybe, let's say, half a teaspoon. You can't ruin it with between a half and full. And then a little bit of garlic powder, again, about 3/4 of a teaspoon. So we're going to sprinkle that all in, and this is where you just mix it a little bit, let it cook. This is really looking nice. I'm going to turn it down a bit. We don't need it to be cooking that hard. This is looking good. I'm going to turn those over, make sure that both sides are equally getting basted into the honey garlic sauce. This definitely on a nice bed of basmati rice. They're not quite cooked. I can see a little bit of pink. I'm going to turn it up again, and I'm going to leave the lid off. I hope you enjoyed our trip to Primal Cuts today. We enjoyed having you. Until next time, keep cooking.